Hi everyone. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers and potential fathers. It's your girl Shanice, and if you're new here, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and you can turn on the bell alerts to get notified whenever I post things. Today is going to be just a casual video. I was honestly just blessed and energized at service today, or during service today, I should say. Had the opportunity to listen to my man of God for the first time in what felt like a long time, but it really wasn't because it's only really been 2 weeks. But he had some encouraging words to share and words that I felt like I'd been telling people, but I hadn't heard being said to me. So it helped just kind of energize me, vitalize my spirit. And, I'll share some of the key takeaways and keynotes that I was left with. The first being that, it's something that we know, but in the midst of challenges, you don't really think about. Pastor said that you have to understand that whenever you're closest to your miracle, your testimony, you may just see overwhelming challenges start to pop up all around you. And that could cause you to lose sight of that vision, of that goal, of that miracle that you were working towards. But Pastor said that these are the moments for incubation. So that's when you start speaking in tongues. That's when you start utilizing those incantations. And for those of you who have already listened to our first message of the week, incantations, you know exactly what my pastor is referring to. I've already made it a goal to make sure that I make a video concerning that incantations message. So watch out, it's coming. But pastor just he said that we're not ordinary and that our tongues are not for decoration. It's something that I've adopted. I say that a lot now. He said that our minds have been given to us as a tool to be productive, to bring about, the changes that we want to see. So don't use your mind unproductively. You can engage your mind in spiritual things. You can engage your mind for spiritual productivity. It's the tool that can help you create the miracles you want to see. And it's the same verse I always reference in Genesis, where Genesis 1 verse 2, where we see that the Holy Spirit was brooding on the face of the deep before he started recreation. We talked about this in the Sound Code video, so if you haven't watched, you can go watch that. I delve a little bit more into that. But Pastor says that sometimes you can see that prophecies have been given, but how you handle your waiting period is what will produce the miracles, is what will help determine if that prophecy is going to come to pass. You use your mind, you use your mind to bring you use your mouth, you use your tongue to bring your mind back on track. So back on the right track, back in focus. Whenever you see those challenges start popping up, you can start speaking. I've talked about this before, y'all know. So Pastor also said that we should have dreams, have visions about your future, dream big. One thing I've referenced before is one of my favorite verses, God is able to do more than you can think or imagine, so the limitation is always in your own imagination. I talk to people and I tell them, whenever you're trying to figure out what your future is supposed to look like, how big can you see? Don't let wherever you're coming from, whatever your situation is, limit you in what you can see for yourself. Just because this is as far as everybody else that has been able to come doesn't mean that that's your stopping point. No, that can be a starting point for you. That can just be the beginning of increase for you. So don't ever let your situations, your background, what you see be what limits your vision, because whatever your imagination is, wherever your imagination can take you, that's where that's the limit that you're placing on God. So try not to limit God. Try to have a limitless imagination. Try to see yourself without any limits. Pastor said that the challenges of God should bring out the best in you. And one thing that he did was he referenced Judges chapter 6. This is the story of Gideon, and Pastor was talking about how God doesn't really need a crowd to create a miracle. He can use one person as one man. We say it a lot, as one man. Even in your life, you can be your own one man. You can see miracles and testimonies happen that you think would take years, would take so much effort, and you can see it happen in a very short amount of time. He said that the only help you will ever need as a child of God is the Holy Ghost, and you already have Him living within you. So he said, don't live an ordinary life. And he talked about the way that you live spiritually is going to affect you physically. So if you're not prioritizing spiritual things, if you're not prioritizing speaking in tongues, you're not prioritizing meditating on the word, Joshua 1:8, I'll always reference that verse. Joshua chapter 1 verse 8. How can you have good success? You know, you have to prioritize the things of the Spirit. Set time for God so that then you now see your physical life respond. Pastor said there is no situation that's too much for God, because there's always the solution to a problem, even within it. All it takes is for you to listen. Listen to God. You know, in Judges 6, God asked Gideon, haven't I sent you? You know, God always makes provisions when you're sent. Like, there's no situation you will be in that provision hasn't been made for you as someone who's sent of God. And he said that when you're lazy spiritually, you cannot hear spiritual instruction. When you listen to that sound code message, you find out God is always talking to us. Are you in tune with this frequency though? That's really what the question is. Are you able to hear the spiritual instructions that He's giving you? Are you able to hear Him when He's speaking to you? He wants you to hear Him. But unbelief, lack of faith, doubts, that's what's going to kill the voice of the Lord. That's what's going to kill your miracle. You can hear God and you're like, is it God? Is it? And you'll just suffer. You'll just, pause and not do anything and just stay where you are. And that's not the life that we're supposed to live. That's not the life we've been called to live. Pastor also pointed out in 1 Samuel chapter 14 from verses 6 to 10, when Jonathan was talking to his young armor bearer, and he was saying that there's no restraint for the Lord to save His people. So he doesn't need a group to save you. It's the same thing that we talk about. You should never count out a faith-filled Christian. A faith-filled Christian can never lose. That's the fact of the matter. Even if it appears everybody else is saying this person is losing, if this person truly has faith, there's nothing you can do. This person has God and has faith in God. There's nothing that you can do that will bring about a loss for this person. So if you're that person, then you need to know that you can never lose. You can never lose. I'm always victorious. I'm always prolific. Everywhere I go, I have testimonies. You just say these confessions. You say these declarations about your life. One thing Pastor said that really touched me, he said, don't leave this world without experiencing supernatural miracles, testimonies. Let the supernatural be a commonplace occurrence in your life. Like every single time, every single situation, you should see a supernatural testimony so that nobody even needs to ask you. You don't need to evangelize. You don't need to do anything. Everybody can see with their own eyes that the Lord is working in your life. And then, my favorite, one of my favorite verses in the Bible, Romans 5 verse 17. Oh my goodness. This is the life that we're supposed to live. We're supposed to reign constantly. Pastor said that don't limit God. Incubate on your dreams, speak in tongues, and use incantations. Don't look around at others while you're running your race. It will only distract you. Who cares what everybody else is doing? Your relationship with God is not going to be the same as the person next to you. It's just not. God is a God that is big. He deals with us on individual levels though. So my walk with God is not going to look like the other person's. My trajectory is not going to look like the other person's. I know God's perfect will for me, and so I'm just going to keep my eyes focused on doing that, and I don't need to see what anybody else is doing. I don't need to compare myself to what anybody else is doing. Because when you start comparing, what is it that they say? Comparison is the thief of joy or something like that. It steals your joy from you because you start wondering, is this not what's supposed to be happening for me? Why is it opening? Why are you concerned with that person? Be concerned with God, really. That's that's really all it takes. One thing that I really like, and one of my favorite people to study in the Bible is David, and Pastor talked about 1 Samuel 17 from verses 26, and then you can read all the way through, but there's certain key verses he pointed out, and it was just really this young teenager that we know has that we're going to know as King David later on. He's being faced with Goliath. This Goliath, this Philistine that has just cowed the rest of the armies of King Saul, which included his own older brothers. And he already knew he would kill Goliath. Like, it was a done deal in his head. It's only everybody else that had doubts, that were looking at him and not seeing who he was. Like, they were looking at him and seeing the physical. They weren't seeing the spiritual giant that he was already. King Saul, when he's just looking at this kid, looking at this boy talking big. A lot of people, when they say, "Oh, you're a Christ Embassy member, you guys are braggadocious." What? We're talking the word. We are talking the word. Please, I will continue to speak the word upon my life. Because what do I get from not doing that? I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how people are living. Maybe I'm the crazy one, but I know what the word says. I'll continue to do it. You see how David was talking. Imagine his brothers, they were getting annoyed. People were getting annoyed at him, but King Saul was like, you know what? You go ahead. And he tries to equip him, but, David only needed his slingshot and the stones that he went and picked up, because he knew he was helped by God, that there was nothing that was impossible to him. Because at that point, it wasn't even about him. He was like, first off, this guy is insulting my God. Some people, you can hear people talking about God and you wouldn't even stand up. But what it was in there for him was that, no, this is God. It's not even, let's just count me out. Let's just say I didn't already slay the bear. I didn't already slay a lion, but I have to defend my God. Like, he's talking against my God. I have to come in. He can't talk against my God. So there are times when you shouldn't accept whatever people are saying about you. You shouldn't accept whatever people are trying to speak about your life. You should make sure that you're the ones using the words that have been given to us in the word. The word has told us who we're supposed to be. So you're supposed to make sure that your words are aligning to that. Don't be cowed by whatever people say, whatever society says is proper to do or not do. Who cares about the traditions of men? No, my only tradition, my only culture is that of God. Everything else is null and void at the end of the day. But anyways, at the end of the day, I pray that you guys had an amazing Sunday service wherever you were, and I hope that these notes that I was able to bring to you, I hope that it blessed you in some way. What were the takeaways you had from your Sunday service? Go ahead and give us some key highlights in the comments that we know will bless us. And I hope you all had an amazing service today. Happy Father's Day to all my fathers and potential fathers out there. I hope you guys have a blessed one. I hope your families are blessed. And I pray that God continues to increase you in every way that's great for you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day and a wonderful week. Bye.